Yes, only actually anaerobes can be used as a biological source for hydrogen production basically. Because hydrogen production itself is a very anaerobic process. If you talk in the terms of biological ways of hydrogen production, so production of hydrogen takes EH of almost minus 400 because the enzymes required during hydrogen production are hydrogenases and they necessarily require the negative EH to work. So, this mechanism is actually a, mechanism for getting rid of the excess of NADH or excess of energy available inside the cell.
Hey, hi, welcome to Biotech Talks. Now, many of our previous episodes were on microbes, right? Like human gut microbiome. Then there was one episode about the antimicrobial resistance, the latest one, explained by Dr. Yogesh Sauche. And then we also did a podcast on the relation of human microbiome with Ayurveda. And today's podcast is also going to be about microbes and that are anaerobes. So, why anaerobes? Well, there are lots of reasons, and one of the most interesting reason that I find is that you know this, right? The microbes present in your gut are controlling your health. Okay, the gut microbiome has a significant role in maintaining the human health, and 98% of the human gut microbiome is composed of anaerobes. So, anaerobes are controlling your health right now. So, it is important to know more about them, right? So, what are anaerobes? How to cultivate them? Why it is very difficult to cultivate them? Well, and what are the uses of anaerobes? How can you use anaerobes for the betterment of society? How anaerobes are acting as savior of humanity to fight against global warming and global warming related issues. All of that and much more will be explained to us by Dr. Leena Kulkarni. She is our guest today and she is Associate Staff Technologist at Praj Industries. So I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello ma'am, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. So anaerobes.
Yes.
So the microorganisms which do not need oxygen to survive. Is this definition enough to describe anaerobes?
Okay, so definition wise, we can think that anaerobes is all anaerobes. Aerobes means air. Air is necessarily oxygen. So without oxygen, those organisms which can live without oxygen are anaerobes. So definition wise, anaerobes is an anaerobic respiration which do not require oxygen.
Okay. So a lot. Previously, I did podcast on human microbiome, human gut microbiome, and there I got to know that anaerobes contribute significantly to the gut microbiota.
Right.
So, what are these anaerobes doing in my gut? What role are they playing?
Okay, you are right actually that 99% of our flora, which is there in the gut, we call it as gut microbiome, it is comprised of anaerobic microorganisms. So basically, if we see those conditions which are there created inside our gut, that the organisms are devoid of oxygen there because there is no direct oxygen involvement inside our gut. So most of the organisms which are there are fermentative and they are living without any presence of oxygen.
Okay.
So what they are necessarily doing inside our gut was your next question, for which I like to say that whatever we are consuming, most of that part is going to the anaerobes.
Okay.
Right, and this is a mutual beneficial thing which is going on inside our gut. So what actually you are eating is nowadays it is told that there is a literature available which tells you that there is something called as gut brain axis. So there is direct connection of your gut with your brain, and that signaling part is some way it is going on along with your microbes. So microbes are the one which are in fact interacting with your brain, and if you see sweet, it is recorded in your brain that it is something which is giving you the energy, which is beneficial, and that's why next time you see the sweet, your brain is calling for it, that you want that sweet, right?
Yeah.
But in fact, this somehow has to do with your organisms as well. That when you see something, that signal is not only going to your brain, but your brain is connected to your gut, and the gut organisms are somehow starving, or there is something going on with the gut organisms for which they are making your brain to particularly pay attention to the sugars or whatever you are craving for.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is how we are getting connected with our microbes, and this is how those are playing a major role in our health. That if there is something going on wrong with our gut organisms, then that is definitely affected on your body. So even if you see the flora from different people, say slim people or obese people or healthy people or young people or old people, even babies, all these kinds of people have different kind of flora. So that has to do with your flora, that has to do with your gut organisms. So if you transplant a flora from a healthy organism into obese organism, it is seen that the obese person has that tendency to get lean, just because the way that food, whatever you are taking, is digested is now different.
Okay.
So this much role our organisms are playing inside our gut.
Okay. So while I was in BSc, I used to do practicals in microbiology, and it was pretty straightforward to cultivate microbes which are aerobic.
Right.
But I know that it is very challenging to grow anaerobes.
Right.
So why is that, and what are the challenges faced while growing anaerobes?
Right. So the major difference what we are saying is that when we are preparing media for aerobic organisms, we don't have to pay much attention to oxygen. Okay, just to grow them, the fermentation and having some product is a different priority. But for growing them, we don't have to pay much attention. Whatever is required or naturally available in the environment, we can provide them, like peptone, yeast extract, or glucose as a source of carbon. We are giving them, and now the ETC works and takes the oxygen and transfer the electrons. Right. So the electron donor part is taken care by the oxygen. But inside anaerobes, that particular ETC is missing because there is no involvement of oxygen. In fact, oxygen is toxic for those organisms. So the way you make normal aerobic media, you can't make the media for the anaerobes. You have to take care that whatever media you are providing is oxygen free, and the environment you are providing to the organism is oxygen free. So for that matter, you have to continuously monitor the media in which you are growing the organism. And first of all, for making the media, you have to take certain precautions, that you have to boil the media and remove out all the oxygen. While it is boiling, you have to take it through the nitrogen flushing, so that all the oxygen in the air in that particular bottle or flask in which you are taking it is going out, and in that nitrogen environment you are sealing it, right? And after sealing, you are taking care that while autoclaving or then thereafter autoclaving, the oxygen is not getting into it. So the seals also have to be aluminum crimp and rubber stopper, so that there will be a tight environmental monitoring on the organism, as well as we are adding some reducing agents which will take care of the anaerobicity inside the media. And some indicators are there, like trisazurin is there, which is indicating that there is no any amount of oxygen in it. So when it is oxidized, it turns into pink. When it is completely reduced, it is colorless.
Okay.
So that way you can take care that a media which is providing for the organism is completely oxygen free. And because of this all steps, it becomes complicated to make normal media which is useful for anaerobic organism. The medium ingredients may not vary much, but you have to take care that there is no oxygen.
Okay. So another thing is that methane is a second most abundant greenhouse gas, and it is causing global warming.
Right.
So anaerobes are playing role to deal with that problem. And how is that going?
Okay, so what we know about anaerobes is that their process is like methanogens. If you see, the methanogens are the one which are growing in completely anaerobic environment, and the normal sources where we can get these methanogens is like rice fields, or we know in gut of or we say foregut of the rumen is the organism like cow, buffalo, that sort of organism. They have rumens in which this particular methanogens are growing. So while we are thinking about the methane formation, so in the same environment when they are growing, like say if we take the example of rice field, then the methane is generated during that process, right? Because the rice fields are very much covered with the water. They are deep. There is a deep water, so that at the end of the rice field, I mean at the end of the roots, at near of the roots of the rice, there is an anaerobic condition. Plus, that environment is very nutrition rich. So over there, the methanogens are getting produced, and not only methanogens, but there are certain organisms known as methanotropes. So what they use is they use the methane produced by the one organism. So this is a cycle. So in environment, the nature itself has taken the care that there should not be imbalance in between any of the gases. So as there is a nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle, or even we say there is a carbon cycle. So even this methanotropes and methanogens also a part of our carbon cycle, wherein the carbon which is there in the normal organic compounds, it is first of all released by the fermentative organism, and they are producing carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide is turned into methane by the methanogens, and again the methane whichever is produced is utilized by this methanotropes. So that it is taking, the nature itself is taking care of the methane which is produced inside the nature, but because we are using it for our own purpose, right, the balance is somehow now it is getting imbalanced, and that's how it is contributing to the global warming.
Okay, so talking about global warming, so hydrogen cars
Yes.
are now getting
Introduced.
popular,
Right.
and anaerobes are can be used to produce hydrogen. So how is that happening?
Yes, only actually anaerobes can be used as a biological source for hydrogen production basically, because hydrogen production itself is a very anaerobic process. If you talk in the terms of biological ways of hydrogen production, so production of hydrogen takes pH of almost -400, because the enzymes required during hydrogen production are hydrogenases, and they necessarily require the negative pH to work. So this mechanism is actually a mechanism for getting rid of the excess of NADH or excess of energy available inside the cell. Okay, so when you know the glycolysis process, and during the glycolysis, the whatever energy is getting out in the glycolysis in the form of electrons. So NAD is getting reduced to NADH, and then the NADH is giving us the energy required for the ATP formation and all these processes. So in organism, there is a capacity, or there has to be a certain ratio of NAD to NADH, and if that is imbalanced and there is more amount of NADH inside the cell, then that excess of NADH has to be reduced. Otherwise, it has a burden on the glycolysis, and the glycolysis cannot be performed, because that NAD is not supplied to the glycolysis. And that's why, to get rid of excess of NADH, the cell has this mechanism by which it is using the hydrogenase, wherein the NADH is supplied to the hydrogenase, the hydrogen is released, and NAD is again supplied to the glycolysis. And that's how this mechanism is working. And now we are using this mechanism to produce hydrogen, because we know that these anaerobic microorganisms are very much capable of utilizing almost any type of waste. So why they are utilizing this waste? Because in those particular conditions of high temperature, say, or normal temperature, even they are growing. But the utilization of the carbon by the anaerobes is always more than as compared to the aerobic organism, because of the complex process which is there in the aerobic organism. So whatever organic carbons are there, or they are present in the waste, they are easily utilizable by these anaerobic organisms, and this particular group of organisms like Clostridium and even Bacillus gram-positive bacteria are readily giving out the hydrogen, and that's why we can see that these organisms particularly can be used as a source of hydrogen generation from organic waste. And that's how we can think it as a big technology coming up. The research is still going on. The hydrogen production is still in its nascent stages, but chemical hydrogen production is widely studied, and even it is employed by several different car companies like BMW, Audi, even Tata. They are using this technology and producing hydrogen cars. Some cars are already there in the market, like from Ford and BMW and Mercedes. They are there.
Okay, so this is how these anaerobes are helping in solid waste management.
Right.
That whatever the solid is waste is there, we
Right.
can use it to produce hydrogen. And apart from that, how in this similar way only, these anaerobes can be used to treat the wastewater.
Correct. So not only the solid waste, actually anaerobes also required water. But the beauty of anaerobes is that they can be employed and the solid waste as well, because in this process water is required as a medium to exchange the electron or to exchange the molecules with the environment, right? So and because they are utilizing this waste very rapidly, they can survive or they can liquefy the solid material itself, and that's how they are taking care of the moisture as such. So even in liquid and in solid, in both of the ways, this organism can utilize any type of waste. Almost, I mean, you can say they have got 100% capacity to utilize this organic waste and convert into the required fuel. And there are so many fuels now in the market, right, from biodiesel to bioethanol to even biomethane. So and now biohydrogen. So all these are generated by using organisms, and they are very nicely giving us the fuel which we want. We just have to do certain bioengineering and genetic engineering to use a particular organic waste, because we know that a particular organism is utilizing this waste. Take a gene from that organism, insert into the organism which is giving us a required product, and just see whether whether it is giving or not. So advances in this genetic engineering have also helped human being to get into the goal of neutralizing the waste and recycling the waste as much as possible.
Okay. So like what are the application of anaerobes in food industry?
In food industry, there are so many multiple applications of anaerobes in food industry. Right from the it starts from our home, right? We use curd, we know idli batter, and we have got this particular snack called narsa. Then there are so many fermentation things that we have, dosas and idlis and utappas and apples and whatnot. So it starts with our ancient things, even the things, the drinks which are made in the food industry, like wine is there, beer is there. Everything is from the fermentation, and most of them is done by anaerobes.
Okay. So that's all. I had questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking me such a beautiful and holding such a beautiful session.